This video is an attempt to explain how I believe we can make Sandestin Property safer and more pedestrian friendly. We can do this by making everyone on the property understand pedestrians are our priority. How do we do that? Well, it starts with signage. This sign is from another property much like Sandestin. These signs should be all around our property to define our culture. One simple thing we can do is make our yield to pedestrian signs a bit more powerful. Once again, this is an example of a sign from a similar community to ours, making everyone aware that it's their state law to yield to pedestrians as it is Florida state law. I also believe yield ahead signs would be very helpful, especially for visitors that are not all that familiar with our property. Let's start by looking at some of the signs on the property. There are stop signs like this one for pedestrians all over the property. Is it realistic, or is it just a way to protect SOA from future litigation if a pedestrian is hit by a vehicle? Has anyone ever been stopped and ticketed for walking through a stop sign? Has anyone ever stopped as a pedestrian for a stop sign? No sign is better than a bad sign because the message is why trust any of the signs if this is one of them. We have posts like this all over the property, and they are to stop golf carts from driving on most sidewalks, but not all of them. How would a visitor know that the post alone is to prevent them from driving their carts on certain paths? We have signs that tell them we just have decided not to put them on all the poles. Why? One last thing on golf carts. I've been here since 1999. I'm old, and I can't rent a golf cart, but a renter can rent a place, allow their 16-year-old child to drive one. When I asked about this, I was told if they have a driver's license, they can drive them. Says who? They can't rent a car? Oh, that's right. The realtors are the ones that say yes. This is the sidewalk next to the fairway on the south side of the property. It is well traveled by young, old, permanent, part-time residents, visitors, and just about everyone who spends a decent amount of time on the property. Golf carts are not allowed to be used on this path, but I'm not sure the golfers know that. They constantly drive on it. I've proposed a small fence to keep their golf carts off of it, and the only question I got was, will it be out of bounds and cost the golfer a stroke? Not will it make it safer for pedestrians. If you are a pedestrian or biker and have used this tunnel to cross under US 98 during busy time, you will agree that 2 speed bumps, one on each side to slow down golf carts, would make this journey much safer. I don't ride bikes a lot, but I did to make this video. Let's use this part of the video to speak to bike paths. What other community like ours doesn't have bike paths? 2 of the saddest stories I've heard is one resident crashed on this turn, and if it's not too late, I think the property is liable. The other sad bike story is that one resident told me he stopped biking because it got too dangerous. Is that our culture? Is that what we want? This is real footage, so if I couldn't stop, me and the truck would have met. Let's look at what I think is one of the most dangerous construction sites in the state of Florida. I cannot believe this mess. I go by here almost every day and just never can get used to how bad a business this must be. They have no respect for the property. They block the sidewalk, and when they do, I start running around inside the construction site until they move the truck that's blocking the sidewalk. The gates are always open, and they have no regard for the dangerous area they have made for pedestrians. I contacted SOA, and their solution was to block me from their social media. I talked to Walton County officials, and they blew me off. This is what it looked like within a week of you watching this video. Of course, the workers that saw me came out and said, "Oh no, one of you people," and then they fixed it. Let's talk about one of the biggest problems, the position of the stop signs and the safety of the crosswalks. In this case, the stop signs are positioned in a place that if the motorist legally stops at the sign, they block the crosswalk. Solution? In cases like this, move the stop sign back before the crosswalk and add a sign that says, "Keep the crosswalk clear." Notice in this intersection, there really is no designated crosswalk, but there certainly needs to be one. I think most people are familiar with this spot. It's another great example of bad placement of stop signs. Remember, I'm riding a bike, so this is in real time in a real situation. This woman is not breaking the law. She has legally stopped at the stop sign, but is blocking the crosswalk. It's not her fault. It's SOA's fault. move the sign back, and add keep the crosswalk clear. Talk about a lawsuit. This is not a one-way road. If someone is stuck behind someone and gets impatient and they make a wide right turn, they run the risk of having a head-on collision. This sign should say right turn only, and this old sign that was pulled out of a warehouse and just stuck up there needs to be thrown away. Here's another example of if you stop at the stop sign, you can't see oncoming traffic, so the driver winds up blocking the crosswalk, and then it just becomes a case that the stop sign is turning into only a suggestion. I'd like to compliment this construction site. They do it right. It's clean. They always have people on the sidewalk and in the street if they are blocking the sidewalk. This is first class. Some solutions: better signage, bike paths, age restrictions on golf carts, more crosswalk designations, more security enforcing the rules, holding construction sites responsible. We are fighting for our beach. Overcrowding is threatening and our property values are at risk. If we get a reputation of being pedestrian unsafe, it will only get worse.